You're listening to Lighthouse Conversations, brought to you by Lighthouse Haven, a spiritual home for your awakening soul. Lighthouse Conversations is a show where awakening souls gather to be inspired, connected, and enlightened. Spiritual spark plug and host Cirelli Canales, that's me, will guide you through the twists and turns of your journey to a safe haven where you are finally free to live your best light. Each episode contains a conversation with a guest who has gone through a spiritual awakening, detailing their unique and life-changing experiences in an intimate and candid way. Although everyone's experience is as unique as they are, we all share one common thread. We're all seeking something. So, come join us on this journey and be prepared to leave with resources that will supercharge you into inspired action. Here's today's episode. Hello, awakening souls. Welcome back. I'm so glad to have you here on Lighthouse Conversations. Today, I have not one, but two amazing women that I'd like to introduce you to, Liz Cirelli and Amy Stout. And I met these incredible people, I guess it was a couple years ago now at the Rise Sister Rise retreat for Rebecca Campbell at the Omega Institute. And that was such a turning point in my life. It put me on this road where I was so much more accepting of who I was as a soul and a spirit and the journey I was on. And, you know, that was a big part of my awakening process. And I've had the most amazing conversations with people I met there, and they tend to have this in common, that they've been on this journey of their own, of awakening, of self-development, of, you know, learning so much about themselves, of introspection, and that they finally are at the place where they want to share it with others, where they want to take that knowledge out into the world and help guide others and help be there for others, especially this year in particular. It's been so isolating. It's been so, there's been so much time to sit and reflect and say, okay, so what am I doing with my life? Who am I? It's like the world had a spiritual awakening at the same time due to COVID. So this wonderful program called Hearts Rising was created by Liz and Amy to connect people during this time, because it's really hard to face the day when you don't have comfort and care, or, you know, maybe you do in certain aspects of your life, but there's a certain part of your soul that still needs that nurturing. And who doesn't, right? So it's such a pleasure to talk to Liz and Amy. And we talk about how there are times in life where we're going to feel really stuck, but there's always another choice. We can always do something else. So that gives me hope, and I hope it gives you hope too. And thanks again for being here. Enjoy today's conversation. And welcome to the show, Amy and Liz. How are you?
Doing well. Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you so much, Cirelli. It's so nice to see you.
It's so nice to see you. I haven't seen your two beautiful faces together since a couple years ago, Omega Institute Rise Sister Rise retreat. We both, the three of us, connect so deeply with Rebecca Campbell's work, and it was a big part of my awakening experience. And I just think about all the things in life that had to happen in order for the three of us and all of the other beautiful sisters, as we call them, to end up in the same place at the same time, kind of creating this beautiful energy of nurturing and creation and prepping ourselves for what is happening in the world and the evolution that the world is taking while having our own personal evolution. So I want to hear how you got there. Amy, I'd like to start with you. Tell me your story.
Well, thank you. So I was in a dead-end job. You know, it was one of those toxic jobs you just did because I had the benefits. I knew my way around. I didn't quite know how to weasel my way out. And I was feeling very restless, but I also had the stability of my home, my marriage, my family. And then my marriage went through a really bad place and I was lost. So that was in 2016. So I had nothing then to rely on. I had no stability at work, no place to actually be, no stability at home. And I had always been a spiritual soul. And I started meditating because I just had to give it all up and just take some space. And, you do one thing and it opens up a path of more things coming that way. So I started meditating, and then I saw a friend had the book, The Universe Has Your Back by Gabby Bernstein. And my intuition, my gut said, I need that. So I read that book, and from there, that just started the whole awakening. I did Gabby's Spirit Junkie Masterclass, where I did a lot of looking into myself and a lot of realizations, having to come to some uncomfortable truths, doing some healing. My marriage healed well. We're still together, so I'm very grateful for that. It's in an even better place than it was ever. So it had to be. And along that path, I had read Rebecca's Light is the New Black. And the whole book, I just thought, oh, she's writing this just for me.
Yes.
Just for me.
I felt the same way, yes.
Yeah. And being there, it was still the best week of my life, even still. And I just feel like the whole thing was perfect in a way that no other thing could be. It was a perfect, lovely, beautiful container. And It's been a wonderful journey, and it keeps going.
It keeps going. Well, I hope that we can end up there again in the future. I have this great memory. I believe I was ordering my lavender ice cream in the cafe and just sitting across from you and just being so excited to just meet these incredible humans who have so much like love and light to give, so much of their personal experiences to be alchemized into something that can heal others as well. And that's something that I felt in common with many of the women that I met there. So grateful for that. And you're an entrepreneur. You have a coaching business. And so you've been helping people for how long?
It's been about 3 years now. So helping women who are unfulfilled get clarity and courage and confidence to take those next steps to lead their lives with love, and also to make a life that's meaningful for them.
And how many of us could use that? So many. So on a similar journey, but of course, a completely different life story. Liz, tell me how you ended up there at Omega Institute a couple years ago.
Yeah, so my spiritual journey started not necessarily, I wasn't feeling like stuck or anything like that. I had been in private practice and was in the mental health field for 18 years. And I was kind of feeling like this little bit of this itch, like, I want to shift into life coaching and I want to do stuff that's more holistic. And I kind of had one foot in, one foot out, right? Like the fear of the unknown, like, how do I really break in? And I just wasn't fully stepping in. And then all of a sudden the universe came and gave me a big smack to the head. Literally, it was a pretty intense brain injury. And it was like, gosh. Here you go, sister, like, get on it. So, Omega came for me. It was probably, I did about 54 programs at Krakow prior to Omega. So Omega was one of the, maybe it was a couple before that, but one of the ones towards the end. So I had been on this very, very long journey leading up to that. And I would say, Rebecca Campbell was amazing. I would say the only program that really even compared to hers was one that was run by Miranda McPherson. And I was like, oh, your work reminds me so much of Rebecca Campbell. And, and she goes, oh, Rebecca was one of my students. And I said, oh, that's so crazy. So everything was just lining up. I had done everything, programs from, my Reiki training and meditation to yoga nidra to deep rest and just a whole gamut of different things. And I would say, my specialties in the mental health field was anxiety, depression, and trauma. And I just got a huge life experience education in addition to my undergrad and my master's degree. I had all the bookwork and my internships, and then all of a sudden I was like, okay, I'm gonna experience every little ounce of this. So had to pick myself up from not being able to walk or talk or put sentences together, or really I was just not functioning at all. And I had a lot of doctors saying to me very early on, when there was very little progress, of, you just need to accept this, and this is the way life's going to be. And I was, thankfully, I had Kripalu and I had places like Omega for people to say, oh, no, like, there's so many other treatments. There's so many other healing modalities like the meditation, like the yoga, like getting out in nature and healing in all these different ways and spiritually, mentally, physically. And really that was my whole healing process. I don't want to take away, I did do some of the physical therapy and the occupational therapy and the speech therapy. I mean, I did it all, but I would say those things made progress for me, but the deep healing really came from more of the spiritual work and the holistic practices. So yeah,
that's an incredible thing to overcome. And it's amazing. I do believe in the balance, having the medicine, having that's essential. And that doesn't address the entire person. We also have to deal with our soul, what's happened there, what's happened in our field, our energy. There's so many pieces of that. And I think, having gone through something, it makes you that much more effective as a teacher. And you're so much more able, Amy, you too, through the marital issues that you experience, by being able to say, hey, I've been there. I've been, on the ground crying. Like, I know what that's like. And that truly makes you that much more, I don't know what the word is. People say qualified. Yes, you can have all of the certificates, and yet still many women in spirituality still feel like, I have this imposter syndrome thing going on. I know I deal with that. Is that something that either of you have experienced going into this journey, or did it make you feel like what you've been through in life makes you so uniquely qualified to do the work that you do?
I feel that what I've been through in my life, just every single moment, all the therapy I've had, all the experiences I've had has really served me well. And also the type of person I am, to be a good listener, like a non-judgmental listener. And my natural inclination is to want to support and help and not necessarily solve their problem, but help get them on the way and make them understand and realize that if they're struggling with something, there's always another option. There's always a choice. So you don't have to stay down. So I feel very strong about that.
Yes. And how about you, Liz?
Yeah, I definitely feel that it's given me a whole different skill set to really be able to work with people. I mean, I think having to really be like at my worst, really having to ask for help, which is so hard, I think, for a lot of women. And to say, like, I can't even really feed myself today, or I can't even walk 10 minutes, like, I need your help. That kind of vulnerability, I think, has really helped me hold a deeper space for people when they're really struggling. And, just having gone through so many different programs and so many different modalities, I think it's just opened my eyes to how much is out there and is able to help me encourage people that, look, there's so much to try. If the first 15 things didn't work, I promise you that there's more. You just got to find the right thing that's going to work for you. Or you might be like me and you might have to do 55 million things to get all the way better, but you will get better. You just got to keep going and keep trying and put yourself out there and just, don't give up. But we can all heal. That was, I think what inspired me the most was probably Dr. Joe Dispenza's work, and just how much your mindset and the thoughts that you have and the world that you're creating really, really impacts your work, your future, your life, everything that you're creating or not creating. So yeah, I feel like it gave me just so many different things in my toolkit to pull from.
So how long was it from the injury to where you got to the point where you felt like, I'm pretty well recovered? Is that a good way to put it?
Yeah, I'm 100% at this point. I would say I'm definitely better in a lot of ways than I was before I even had the head injury.
Wow.
Yeah, because I think when I did all those practices, there were still parts of me, even though I was well and not injured, that were probably not healed from my childhood, or just different, crap that we go through in life. Yeah. And so while I was healing the brain injury, I was also healing all these other things that I wasn't even really conscious of. So, but I think in totality, it really was a full 4.5 years of healing. I think I probably didn't start making it to the spiritual retreats and yoga retreats until about 9 months in, because I just wasn't well enough to even really space.
Survival is important. Yeah. And so how about you, Amy, before you encountered this retreat that we were on together, before that, were you kind of in the same boat? You were reading the books. Were you trying out different groups and looking for community, looking for resources?
So my community was mostly online because I was changing a lot, and where the people that I was meeting with and were like-minded and really gelling with online and learning more about the universe and about energy healing and about, your intuition. I didn't have anyone like that around. So I did spend a lot of time online with those people, and I enjoyed really just learning all that there is to, more to the mystic, the Zen, the intention of it all, your intuition, how you have to heal. And once you heal something, you're like, woohoo, I'm healed. And then no, a year later, more shit comes up and you got to do it all over again for something else.
Yes. I hear it's kind of like a spiral in some ways. It's like, okay, you're back to that point again. You thought you were past it, but it's kind of at an elevated level where you're going up and up. It's like this journey never ends, but it's in pieces. Like it's bit by bit, and still every bit of work is worth it, I believe. Tell me about how you decided to work together for your community, Hearts Rising. And I want to know just, what's your elevator pitch, but then I want to dive in deeper.
You want to start, Liz?
Sure. I think, having gone through what I went through and then being in this pandemic and being so isolated from my community that was so important to me over those 4.5 years, it kind of came to this screeching halt. And I was like, I need to get back into groups and I just want to lead them. And I knew how much a lot of other people were really struggling. I had done the 4 years of isolation. So I was like, I get this. I get the isolation you're feeling. I've been through it. So I really wanted to give back a lot of the stuff that I was so blessed to be given during my healing journey. And so I reached out, I think I posted something online and I said, who wants to run a group? I might have even posted it in our little Omega private group. And Amy responded and was like, I'll do it. And I had a couple other people and I was like, awesome. And it just really, we got together via Zoom and we started planning and everything just flowed so beautifully and was like, yeah, let's do that. And let's do this. And, we just really wanted to get women to come together, to support each other, to do the deep dives that we did at Omega and really bond. So
community is so important. Amy, what's your take on it?
Yeah, similar to what Liz said, after Rebecca's retreat, I went to another retreat with one of the sisters from our group. And then I had another retreat all planned at Mount Shasta for last April. I was super psyched. And of course that got put out. Mm-hmm. And like Liz said, I just was feeling, like I really needed that bond, that community, that spiritual haven, if you will. And
I will.
like she's, yeah. And when Liz put that out there, I'm like, yeah, heck, I'll do it. So like she said, we connected on Zoom and she said, what are you thinking? And I said, it'd be nice. We both said, we wanted to incorporate what we had learned at Rebecca's retreat. And we just, she'd say, yeah, let's do this. I'm like, okay, let's do this. And it just flowed. And it, not one time did anything ever kind of not work out. It just all flowed together and just like it was meant to be. And it was, it's amazing.
When it flows like that, you know that you've hit that current and you just ride with it. And things are like, wow, I didn't realize it could be so simple or so easy. It's because you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. How long have you been working with people at this point, and what are you looking to grow into?
So the last one we did was 6 sessions. It was over 12 weeks. So it was about 3 months, which really just gave people, I think, time to really bond with each other through like their private Facebook group that's created. But I think, the women that came into our group just grew in so many ways. I mean, we had people who were just feeling like they were not in awareness of even what was going on. And then now they're able to see some of those things and kind of recognizing some of those core wounds and how that's really affected them, and really just truly finding their authentic self and stepping into more of their power, which, just was so beautiful. And we did things like the self-inquiries from Rebecca Campbell's that we've learned there. We've done meditation and journaling and a lot of group sharing. And it just has been just really, really beautiful.
Did that happen during COVID time?
Yes, I'm sorry. So that we started, Amy, do you remember the
December of 2020?
Yeah.
Yes. Prime lonely winter isolation anyway, plus COVID. It's been an incredible time of discovery, I think, for many people. I like to say the world was having a spiritual awakening during this time, because how often do people have more than enough time to sit and reflect? And not saying that, okay, that's not like that for everyone. People have children to take care of and are working full time and all of this. But when you can't go out and see your friends or have the activities, the schedule packed like you normally would, that leaves this space, this like, oh my God, who am I all of a sudden? I feel like I've lost so much of my identity this year without people reflecting back to me who I am. And that was a bit of an identity crisis. And so it's about learning to identify myself without needing anyone else to tell me, oh, you are this. Oh, and you're great. You can't rely on validation. Have you run into situations like that with your groups, or are there any themes that have shown up during this time that are universal during this isolation experience?
I think that we had a lot of the themes were, I think they felt isolated, and some of the women felt isolated, like they were alone in their feelings and their thoughts. And then in group, when you open up and you get a little vulnerable and you share, then you realize, oh yeah, I feel that way too. And then just to see how that would kind of the momentum it would take from there. It was very nice to see that, and the support that they really truly gave one another, whether it be in the group live when we were on the call, and also with in the Facebook group when we were offline.
Do we have a little puppy going on?
I'm sorry.
Oh, it's so cute. You have to show the puppy now.
I would agree with you.
Oh,
I think it was
cute. For the listeners
Henry
at home, Mr. Henry is adorable. So.
I would say really, like, people or women in the group just really felt so comforted by the fact that somebody else was feeling the same.
Yes.
It was kind of like, oh, you think you suck at those things? I think I suck at those things too, and you really don't suck at them, so maybe I don't suck at them. And, it gave them like a little bit more, I think, confidence. And it was, somebody would be sharing in the group and you'd see all the head nodding, yes, me too, on the different little squares on the Zoom. So I think it was really just, being able to see that we're really so much alike.
Yes.
And we have, all of us are so beautiful and have so many gifts. And why was I thinking that I was less than or unworthy or undeserving? And I think it just really helped them to raise their confidence level in that way.
It puts a mirror up to them. That's what I try to do with this podcast, for example. It's just like, I don't know if you know how awesome you are, but let me just remind you of that, and by people seeing that in each other, it really reminds them like, oh yeah, okay, I'm not as terrible as I think I am, because it's easy to get stuck in that loop again if you're not communicating or interacting the way that you used to. And I truly believe that when someone stands up in their truth and speaks it, countless others heal. This is how we create community. That's how their sisterhood happens, by being vulnerable and being like, okay, I'm kind of a mess, y'all, sometimes. And other people saying, I didn't even know that about you. It makes you realize you don't have to have that facade up all the time. And when we can let that go and feel community and feel comfort, like you two are providing in your groups, that heals the community, and it makes it like little lights all around get lit up around each of those people who were lit up, because with them sharing in the group, then they're going to be braver in life as well. Do you find that the people, like, will people continue to come back to the group because there's always something new, or is it like a new cohort every time that you're cultivating?
No, we're going to keep the content fresh, and that we'll have people coming back. And we've already received some registrations for some people coming back for a second time. So that's great news. Yeah. So we just keep, we just keep it going, and they really, like Liz said, they just enjoy it, and to see the head nods and the big eyes and like the takeaways. It's very rewarding to know that they're being lifted up.
Yes. Oh, 100%. Now, you are caring for others so much during this time. You're sharing of your time, you're sharing of your gifts. What are you each doing to support yourself, or to let yourself be supported by others, by the universe, all of the above? Liz, you want to go?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I definitely have my daily practice of yoga and meditation, and I am in cold little New Hampshire up here, but I do my best to get outside and get a walk, even when it's freezing. I have my own journaling practice. So, I also have a private Facebook group. It's called Women Supporting Women. And there's so much positivity in there. I just recently started that. But it's been just such a wonderful blend of women just, oh, who needs prayers and happy birthday to you.
Yes,
and, always reaching out. And it's just, for me, I'm definitely a people person. So for me, it's finding ways to stay connected, whether it's via Zoom running groups. I actually am signed up for a group through Kripalu that starts in the middle of this week. So I will be getting some new tools and just refreshing my own system with some new flavors of stuff. But yes, absolutely. All the things that I'm teaching, I am practicing myself. So
you're being the lighthouse yourself. You are. And congratulations, you're published in a second book at this point. Tell me a little bit about that. And then Amy, I'll get to you about your self-care practices.
Yes, thank you. That's been probably one of the most exciting parts of my experience of COVID is, I think when I was in Omega, one of my main goals was to really get my voice back. And I actually mentioned that to you one day when I was there, and you kind of reflected back to me and you're like, bro, like, why are you playing so small? Like, you have this huge, like, energy and personality. And I was like, little me, this little pipsqueak, like, no. But, my goal was really to tell my story, help others through sharing my story. And that was somebody else that I had done one of my programs with, and she had been working with this publisher previously. And she said, hey, do you want to co-author this book? It's all about women sharing their magic and, dripping that and spreading that into the world. And I said, absolutely. I didn't even hesitate. I was like, sign me up. Give me the link, and I just signed up right away. And I was like, and then I had the moment of panic, like, wait, I don't know, how am I going to write this? And then, I was so excited, but there was that, okay, it's really going to be out there for all these people to read it. And then that vulnerability back in. And I was like, what did I do? What did
That happens to me all the time. Yes. Like, did I really say that?
Yeah. So, but it was again being like the universe just lining things up for me. And here is your little ticket, like, get on it and just do it. And so, I wrote about trauma and all the different types of healing I did and recovering from a brain injury. And then in the second book, I really wrote more about how the people on my journey were really my mirrors in so many different ways, whether that was men or women that I was working with in groups, but also just even my mentors and teachers from the programs. I think that's where I really realized I was stepping into my power. I was going, oh, like every person, every teacher I had was actually a published author, oh, that's part of me too. And oh, I'm teaching these groups now. And oh, they were mirroring back to me what some of the gifts I actually had that I could share too. So it was just a really beautiful opportunity and such an accomplishment for me after having to heal so much of what I was feeling.
Yes. Well, I'm so proud of you, and we'll put the link in the show notes as well so people can see your work. So Amy, tell me about your self-care practice, and then I want everyone to know how they can work with you guys.
Thank you. It's similar to Liz. It's I have a morning routine. I'm very Liz and I have discovered I'm very orderly, and I like schedules and I like forms, and I'm very I guess organized. And Liz is different, and I think that's one of the reasons we flow so well.
Yeah.
But again, like Liz, I've got my morning routine where I have my meditation. I'm doing A Course in Miracles right now, so that's been beautiful. It's really given me a new perspective on everything, and again, just reinforcing how important it is to really just lead with love, and love is the only love is real. Nothing else is real, only love. And especially in these times when I've been really affected by the divisiveness of the country and how there's so much hate. It has really been very bothersome. So working to get through that with leading with love. And I do a meditation, and then I also journal. And I am part of Danielle Laporte's Heart-Centered membership, which I adore. I am a person who loves to go deep and really dig in and ask a lot of questions. And she does a great job of doing that. So I do that. I'm also focusing more on my business and like planning ahead for the year of different things I'm going to offer. And really just my website was just finished. So thank you. So now just really pushing it all out there and getting my message out so people know how to find me.
And you're doing it. You are shining so bright. Keep doing what you're doing. Between the two of you, it's like this, like the sunshine that's in my face right now that you can see as I'm recording with you. That's like how bright you guys are. Love it. So right before we say goodbye here, just let me know and let the audience know at home the best way that they can hear more about Hearts Rising.
Sure. So we have links on Facebook. You can find both of us there. I'm under Liz Woodrow Cirelli, and Amy.
It's Amy Stout, Staats, Stout. Mm-hmm.
And Amy's got a private Facebook group called
Courageously Taking Action. So you can find it in there.
Yes,
mm-hmm.
I love that.
I have one, Women Supporting Women. So it's that information's been listed there. My website is elizabethcirelli.com. And Amy, is your site up and running?
Yep. And my website is amy-stout.com.
Well, I am honored to have you two on the show. It's so beautiful to see your faces. And I hope in person we can do that again. And I look forward to hearing about all the amazing work that you continue to do and all the lives you're going to change, already are changing.
Thank you so much, Shelley. Really appreciate it. It was lovely seeing you.
Lovely seeing you. Thank you for listening to Lighthouse Conversations. If this show resonates with you, it would mean so much to have you rate, review, and share. Don't forget to follow us at chellycanales.com and on social media.